Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. An earthquake rocks Morocco, prompting a solidarity message from its CARICOM partners. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 12th September 2023, brought to you in association with our friends at Antillian Group. Details when we return.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family, yes we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. The Caribbean community CARICOM has expressed solidarity with Morocco after a deadly earthquake on Friday. More in this TTT News item.
In a statement, CARICOM said it is deeply saddened to learn of the death and devastation in the Kingdom of Morocco from the earthquake which struck on Friday, September 8th. CARICOM said we extend heartfelt condolences to the government and people as the death toll continues to rise. And further stated, we offer our hand of friendship and solidarity as you seek to respond and recover from this catastrophe. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, Dr. Didacus Jules, has assured the families of students from the OECS who are currently studying in Morocco that the embassies of Eastern Caribbean states to the Kingdom of Morocco has been in touch with all nationals in Morocco and has affirmed that none have been directly affected. More than 2,000 people have reportedly died after Friday's 6.8 magnitude earthquake in a North African country.
The University of the West Indies Seismic Research Centre is allaying fears that there's any cause for concern following two earthquakes felt hours apart on Sunday morning in Trinidad and Tobago. It says this is normal activity felt just north of the Paria Peninsula. TTT's Sunil Lala reports.
Around 2:13 a.m. on Sunday, the UAE Seismic Research Center recorded a 3.5 magnitude earthquake. Just over 5 hours later, around 7:30, a 5.1 magnitude quake was recorded in the same vicinity, just west of Trinidad, north of the Paria Peninsula. Many in West Trinidad said they felt a quake in Diego Martin, Port of Spain, St. Anne's and Marifal, and as far east as St. Joseph and Barataria. But researcher in engineering seismology at the UAE Seismic Research Center, Dr. Ilias Papadopoulos, assured that this is usual activity north of the Paria Peninsula, noting that there are an average of between 2 to even 10 small to large events daily.
We don't have any indication that we feel that something larger is to be expected anytime soon. This is actually how it should be. Once every, maybe every 2 weeks or a month, we should have a little bit bigger, larger event that is actually being felt by people.
In fact, he noted that the center would be worried if the opposite effect occurs.
If I didn't see any earthquakes at all, then I would start worrying, because that means that the energy is being accumulated on the fault and it is not being released. So having earthquakes is quick release of energy, the system relaxes, starts stressing up again, it will repeat it, it will relax.
He added that the center also recently expanded its capability network to record quakes in West Trinidad, noting that it may pick up more activity that may have been previously missed.
We have better capability to record earthquakes compared to 3 months ago. But that doesn't mean that because we record more small events that we have elevated activity. We're just being able to see it now because of the installation of the new network.
And Mr. Papadopoulos also set the record straight, stating that there is no correlation between earthquakes felt and the extra heat being experienced as of recent.
It's not like we have cold days and hot days. It is always hot days. Some days are hotter than the others. But there is no correlation between the heat or the cold and the earthquake activity.
Sonolala, TTT News.
In other news, following recent remarks by the departing U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch, concerning electoral reforms, the APNU-AFC opposition vehemently criticizes the Ali administration for rebuffing all efforts to enhance the current system. HGP's Shamar Alin provides more insight into this update in the following report.
Outgoing United States Ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch, recently called on Guyana to explore all options available to strengthen its electoral system. While the opposition found the ambassador's remarks to be positive and reflective of most of its positions, the People's National Congress Reform accused the ruling People's Progressive Party civic government of resisting all attempts at electoral reform.
The PPP continues to unreasonably resist all attempts at improvement. The PPP continues to be deluded that a bloated voters list and a pro-PPP GCOM can deliver credible, accurate, and acceptable general elections. Elections with the present voters list and the present configuration of GCOM cannot and will not deliver credible and acceptable elections.
Holder, who is the chairman of the PNCR, stated that the government should accept reality and start the process of cleansing the voters list and introducing biometrics.
We must come to its senses and accept this reality and begin the process of ensuring the preparation of a clean voters list and the introduction of biometrics at the place of poll. Let us also restate our readiness to discuss and facilitate all the required constitutional and statutory requirements to reach these outcomes.
Back in December, the government passed the long-awaited amendments to the Representation of the People Act. The government had promised to update Guyana's law as part of its electoral agenda. The opposition has been protesting the Guyana Elections Commission for a clean voters list. Reporting for HGP Nightly News, Shamar Ali.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Dr. Horace Chang, Minister of National Security of Jamaica and Deputy Prime Minister, commends the JCF efforts, highlighting concerning trends among criminals in the old capital targeting women. More in the CVM Live report.
A tour of the Norman Manley International Airport saw the National Security Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Horace Chang providing assurances that the country's borders are safe. But despite the suggestion, criminals near and far still managed to rain terror on a family of 3 in St. Catherine this week. The minister offered some insights.
We have a number of concerns beside the Guyana and Spanish Town. I think in the last 48 hours we have seen attack on 6 women who have died, which is a concern. There's a certain sadistic approach to murders in Jamaica today, which are concern to me, because beyond the policing, the kind of just wanton killing of women, and not just women, old people. You see old people murdering each other.
Beyond that, he explores recent patterns of crime and violence impacting the older age groups, adding though there's been no increase in domestic violence cases, there are some concerns.
We see, just I think 2 days ago, a 74-year-old wife murdered an 84-year-old husband, and number you had a brother killed 2 brothers in Westmoreland, and what is happening here. The combination of these events are worrying, but I'd say again, the police have been doing quality work in the midst of all this, or I said at level almost of sadistic activity. We've seen where in Montego Bay, the police were able to identify and apprehend a gentleman who was going around murdering mentally ill patients and mentally ill homeless on the streets. I think for this year he identified 5 murders.
He says the man was reportedly also a serial rapist.
For Jamaica, in many cases, the enemy that confronts the nation is within its borders. And so the minister explains the police have had to find new ways to flush them out and swiftly. Hence, more arrests. He's, however, hoping more resources will stem the crime and violence proactively.
I think of the Gregory Park incident, about 5 individuals have been apprehended and charged. The burial group, the burial robbery in Mandeville, about 7. And I said, allow the police to give more, but that's what got through the net, so to speak. But the police have been preventing quite a few of these robberies.
And now we join HDP's Renata Burnett for some important regional roundup.
A retired Colombian Army officer pleaded guilty in a U.S. court on Thursday to conspiring and supporting a plot to kill Haitian President Jovenel Moïse, who was shot dead in his bedroom 2 years ago, a brazen assassination that created a destabilizing power vacuum. According to the signed U.S. court document, German Rivera, known as Colonel Mike, was part of the convoy which headed towards Moise's Hillside Port-au-Prince residence on July 7, 2021, days after he relayed information that the plan was not to kidnap Moise, but instead to kill him. Since Moise's death, armed gangs have greatly expanded their control across the impoverished Caribbean nation. Escalating turf warfare, largely centered around the capital, has driven a humanitarian crisis, leaving some 200,000 internally displaced, according to UN estimates, amid frequent shootings, ransom, kidnappings, and sexual violence. Now we tell you that dangerous beach conditions are expected to develop around the western Atlantic through early next week from Hurricane Lee, which is now a Category 5 hurricane on the Saif-Simpson hurricane wind scale. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said that at 5 a.m., the center of Hurricane Lee was about 630 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands. Lee is moving toward the west-northwest near 14 miles per hour, and his motion is expected to continue through early next week with a significant decrease in forward speed. On the forecast track, Lee is expected to pass well to the north of the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico over the weekend and into early next week. Maximum sustained winds based on data from the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft have increased to near 165 miles per hour with higher gusts. And finally, Cuban authorities said they had arrested 17 people on charges related to a ring of human traffickers that allegedly lured young Cuban men to serve in the Russian military amid the Ukraine conflict. Cuba earlier this week revealed authorities were working to neutralize and dismantle the network, which is said to operate both on Cuban soil and in Russia. As a result of the investigations, 17 people have been arrested so far. Among them, the internal organizer of these activities, Cesar Rodriguez, a colonel with Cuba's Interior Ministry. Rodriguez did not name any of those accused of participating in the ring, but said the group's leader relied on 2 people residing on the island to recruit Cubans to fight for hire on behalf of Russia in Ukraine. Russia, which has strong political ties with communist Cuba, has long been an important destination for Cuban migrants seeking to escape economic stagnation at home.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.